Hey everybody, and welcome to a lovely Tuesday night edition of the WrestleWatch podcast. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it in over the weekend, but we are here confident and ready as always to discuss free agency in the world of professional wrestling and maybe some other topics today. We'll find out.
Yes.
We'll find out. I'm Ryan. That's Doug.
I am Doug.
The man who says yes.
Yes, and I am. We are also the people who counter program NXT. Take that,
Yes.
CW.
Yeah, we're on the grapefruit circuit or whatever it's called. We're not doing this. We're not doing the orange
Pineapple loop.
Pineapple loop. Is that what they
Or
call it?
the Largo loop. I think the Largo loop is what I used to go with because I like the alliteration of it. But the pineapple loop could probably work. They probably they don't have pineapples in Florida, so I guess that wouldn't work. Maybe they do.
We'll find out.
Listen, if I go to Jewel down the street, which is a Chicago-based grocery store, I can get a pineapple. So I'm just pointing that out, that anywhere could have a pineapple loop.
I mean, yeah, but not endemically, like not like natively, perhaps,
This is true.
But that's what should be happening. It's a war on pineapples in Chicago. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah, there's So they could be focusing their efforts on something else. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. So we have a few topics that we want to discuss this week on the WrestleWatch podcast. Coming up in today's episode, we'll be discussing man like Dereiss, who is the current Progress World Men's Champion. What's going on with him when he did a recent U.S. trip? Should wrestlers be worried about WWE's usage of AI? Who didn't show up at WrestleDream, who could have? Or if Doug has finished the stream of WrestleDream, maybe we'll find out if Doug has predictions of who could still show up by the time that he finishes it. Mm-hmm. Will any free agent tag teams appear in the AEW Women's Tag Tournament? And also we have, of course, hot takes. We have Andrade, okay, where he go? And first off, the big ticket item for this week's podcast is we're doing Retirement Watch live. It's we have a few people that we wanted to discuss live from Chicago. It's Retirement Watch. We have a few people that we wanted to cover that might be retiring this coming year this week. We've been discussing AJ Styles for a little bit. So he is no surprise that he's in this group. The other two names in this group, which I guess you could call the Magnificent Septuagenarians.
Oh,
they're not, though. They're not in their 70s. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
And it got AJ Styles. We have Shinsuke Nakamura, who has finally reappeared from the ether just to probably disappear back into some 7-Eleven or the Pacific Ocean or something. I don't know. He's going to surf. He's going to surf maybe. And we have Chris Jericho as the third musketeer.
I bet they're all born in the 70s.
Chris Jericho was. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, wait. What? No, is he born in the 70s?
I bet he hit. Let's look this up.
I'm going to say either 68 or 72. Those are my guesses.
Let's see.
For Chris Jericho's birth year.
Because Chris Jericho was born in 1970. Look at that.
1970. Wow.
All right.
So yeah, I think they're all in the 70s. Although AJ did famously compete in WCW.
AJ Styles, 1977.
Okay. Wait, really?
Yeah.
He's that young? Comparatively?
44. Yeah. And then, wow. Oh no, Shinsuke Nakamura by 2 months, February 24th, 1980.
Really?
He ruined it.
Wow. A young buck.
Yep.
Shinsuke. That's what he should be doing right now with the Retirement Watch. I know that there was a little tweet or something. There was an interview with the Young Bucks, and I think it was Matt was like, yeah, we don't have a lot of time left on our clocks, here. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe they should not have Okada dress in their ring gear before shows. Maybe they should get Shinsuke on it.
Yeah. Listen,
obviously
Shinsuke's got time. He could throw away the AARP junk mail for a couple more years. He's okay.
Yeah, that's the new circuit they've added for NXT, the AARP circuit.
Yes.
Yeah, so Shinsuke, let's start with Shinsuke, just because that's probably like the briefest, or actually the most interesting, in my opinion, possibly. Although you had some interesting thoughts about Chris Jericho as well.
Yeah.
Shinsuke. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's talk about Nakamura first, because obviously, the big thing with him is that he is now coming to the end of his contract at some point. We are speculating.
Not just us now. We've been on this game for a little bit. We've been noticing that his contract should have run out, I think, this summer or maybe last summer, and had injury time added. And now finally, it looks like Fightful is up on noticing, hey, wait a second, his contract's up soon.
Yeah. However, it seems to be, and especially with the way Dave has been talking about, him as a potential Wrestle Kingdom Tanahashi final match. Yes. But it was worded in a way that this is like a pipe dream, and that it would also have to be. They're basically phrasing it like, well, if WWE would let him.
Yeah, so it sounded very much so like the people inside New Japan were thinking to themselves, who could we get? Who in our wildest dreams, who all could we get? And Shinsuke's name was brought up.
Yeah. And the fact that they're saying with WWE approval, that to me says that I'm assuming that people are knowing that he's going to be under contract through Wrestle Kingdom at that
point. They might think that he will be. They might not have even tried to ask.
But I feel like they would have asked. That's a question they would be asking themselves before they jump to the conclusion, oh, he must be under contract. So to me, that says that they know he's under contract through Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the first thing with him. Now, do I think that what's going on with him now, is he more likely to retire or is he more likely to make a jump? Obviously, when he signed to WWE the first time in 2016?
Yeah.
There was already talk of him kind of being physically not what he used to be. And while he was in WWE, he didn't necessarily, I want to say he was, not going in, kicking it up to top gear, but he definitely was not putting in as much effort as he was in New Japan, or at least he didn't have the same output. He had that. I think most people would say his best WWE match was his first match, and then he never met that again. So it's interesting because his other great match that he had in 2016 that everyone talks about is the match with AJ, who's another person we're going to be talking about here. And that was the one at Wrestle Kingdom. So at this point, it's going to be a decade after he was supposedly physically shot. So I think that at this point, I don't see him stopping. I feel like we would hear a little bit more if he was genuinely going to be giving it up. And he just feels like someone who isn't done. Obviously the meme with him has always been, oh, he's already in retirement mode because he's always surfing and he just shows up and he puts in, 50% effort. And I guess just part of me feels like that's not going to happen with that. He's not done. I think we're going to see more of him. So that's my thought with him. And I think that the retirement watch is off. I'm saying officially, okay. I'm off retirement watch on Shinsuke Nakamura.
But you are still on the jump watch for Shinsuke Nakamura.
I am still on jump watch for him. And I think he could go there. I think he could equally go to New Japan or AEW. I think those are two equal choices. And I think the possibilities are the same. And that's rare that I say that for someone.
I think that it's interesting that he's been brought back again to WWE. Not that he's been brought back, not that part of it. The point is that he hasn't been in WWE in the States since I think it was June, might have been May, when they had the qualifiers for the King of the Ring tournament. Before that, do you know the last time that Shinsuke Nakamura did a match in the United States before that most recent like little run of things that he did back right before the King of the Ring tournament?
I wouldn't even know where to guess, but I would say the last time I heard was it, let me ask this. Was it before WrestleMania?
Yes.
Was it in was it before the Royal Rumble?
No, it was actually right after the Royal Rumble, because he went a month after the Royal Rumble as the United States champion without having a match.
They've been doing a lot of that lately.
And so his recent run before the run that was 3 matches leading up to he had he was at WrestleMania weekend. He was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on SmackDown. Then
what an honor.
After wait a month, and then he does a Money in the Bank triple threat qualifier where he was in a match with LA Knight and Aleister Black. But then you have to wait another month. He was back again in Lexington, Kentucky for a King of the Ring 4-way match between himself, Cody Rhodes, Andrade, and Damian Priest. His run this year in WWE has either been him doing house shows in places that are not the United States, or doing fodder matches for tournaments, or holding the United States Championship just to show up in Noah with it. That's been it for Andrade, and that's been it
Nakamura
since Nakamura, yes, and that's been the case for Shinsuke. Also going back into last summer, where he the last time that he's had a sustained run in WWE in the States or on TV, we're looking back like it's been well over a year. Like, it is a very long time since he's had a sustained run on TV.
Yeah.
He's just not being used. And I mean, like, maybe he's fine with that. Maybe he's, good with just taking the paycheck and everything like that. But considering there were some backstage photos of him saying hey to some young New Japan rapscallions. He had a photo with, I believe it was Hiromu Takahashi and Yota Tsuji that was taken during this WWE Japan tour. And considering that, his name was bandied about as a possibility of maybe you could get him to face Tanahashi, excuse me. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's retirement watch necessarily, but it is retirement run watch. And I don't know if that's going to happen in WWE.
No, I mean, he doesn't feel like someone who's going to have his last match in WWE. He just really doesn't. And on top of that, okay, so you talked about the WWE Japan show, like the tours that are happening right now.
It just happened. Yeah.
Yes.
The WWE dates just happened. There's still the Marigold date for Io Sky.
Yeah. So, he had those 2 shows. He was also on the Australia one, which kind of makes sense. That's the same kind of loop. They usually tie them together.
Yeah.
So are you thinking then we're going to see him disappear again? Is he going to pull a Riho who just comes in and vanishes?
I think that he is disappearing again. Like, I don't think that he's showing up after this for quite some time, possibly ever again in WWE. Maybe they'll have him do one last match with AJ Styles that they can put on their own card, But that's the biggest match that WWE can do with him, right? Like, what was his big rivalry in WWE for that matter?
I mean, I suppose AJ.
Yeah.
And then I suppose Sammy.
Yeah.
And then
which they did they did that match recently, but it was ended in a DQ no contest because Tama Tonga returned, and that's the most important thing in WWE is Tama Tonga.
So it's like those are it. You're right. Those are like those are his WWE feuds that really kind of stood out.
Yeah. So you you're not going to have him do a Cena run. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have him probably sniff the world title again. So, like, what do you got him there for? You know, like, just to keep him away from other people, essentially.
And I don't remember who brought this up. Someone brought this up in regards to, I think it was in our Discord, about the idea of WWE allowing him to work the New Japan show. And they brought up that, the other thing that we're not keeping in mind is that they still have a CMLL relationship, and CMLL may not necessarily be on board with, them coming in, essentially partnering with de facto AAA.
Yeah, that's probably like, I mean, like, let's say that just like it's, Shinsuke's contract is up. I don't know. Let's just say it's in the same kind of timetable as AJ's contract is going to be up. Like the first few months of 2026, and it's simply a matter of Shinsuke's probably not going to get used anymore in this scenario. He's not going to get used anymore in WWE, but they hold the contract, and New Japan calls up and is like, "Hey, we'd like to use him. What will it take to use Shinsuke?" I think that New Japan would be willing to do that. I think AEW would be understanding of that kind of thing, because that scenario, it's January is when this match is happening. January 4th is when this match is happening, right? It's like, it is a static date. You're not moving it. It's not getting moved, period, right? And like maybe Shinsuke, then is going to become a freelancer after that, or go back to New Japan after that anyway, I could see that being an understandable situation. I think there's more of a chance also of Shinsuke ending up in New Japan this time next year than AJ Styles having a match in New Japan by this time next year.
I would agree. I think that that's more likely.
And so, like, maybe in that scenario, if as you were pointing out, I think AEW would have less of a problem with that scenario. With their relationship with New Japan. They would be like, okay, well, you're planning on bringing him back anyway. He's already talking to you that his contract's up on this date and he's planning on coming back. We'd love to have him from Forbidden Door if that's cool with you too. Like, it's kind of like a, everybody wins kind of scenario. I could see CMLO having a problem with it though, because even though it's like a one-off, and even if it's like, oh yeah, well, he's gonna, maybe we can get him to Mexico for you guys, they'd probably still be like, hey, like, this is a no-go for us. This is like a hard red line.
And we know, I mean, it's the other thing is we know CMLL. We've seen them, how they react, and they hold grudges for a long time for stuff that a lot of times people think might be minor.
Yeah.
And I would speculate that that's not going to change just because AAA got bought by a different company.
Yeah. And I would also point out that it seems that the CMLL Bushi Road relationship has gotten deeper in the past few months, especially with like trying to bring in more Stardom stars into Mexico and having more crossover in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
The reactivation of that CMLL Japanese championship. I think that's who has that now? Kojima? Who has that now?
I'm not sure. But yeah.
Kazuki maybe? I can't remember off the top of my head. But CMLL reactivated a championship that is essentially, it's like, oh yeah, Stardom, here's a title for whoever you want to send over.
I'm looking this up now.
Yeah, it's Hazuki has it right now.
Good. And Hazuki is someone that probably, if she wanted to travel around a little bit more, could get over very, very easily. She arguably had the best match of Mercedes' entire run so far. And I think she's in just a lot of different ways. She's someone who could really break out in the US if she wanted to.
Yeah.
And Mexico, of course. All right, should we move on to AJ?
Yeah, AJ I think is actually kind of pretty quick, honestly. Yeah. I think that there's still a chance of him ending his career outside of WWE, but I don't know. It seems like that they're actually trying to make it into a story in WWE on television. So I think that it's leaning towards I think right now him retiring in WWE. What do you think?
So I think that AJ is 100% a situation where he would probably like to end his career in WWE. Mm-hmm. But if someone makes him a better offer, he'll probably take that better offer.
Yeah.
And because that's always kind of been how he operates, in the sense that, you know, when he jumps from different companies throughout his run, you know, he's usually leveraging himself against other people. When he went to WWE the very first time, he went to Dixie Carter first. Like when he left New Japan and went to WWE, he made sure that he had that leverage. He went there first, and then he got the better deal.
Yeah.
And that's when he got that big Royal Rumble debut. So he knows how to leverage himself. He's always been really good about that. I mean, the first time he went to New Japan, it was after NXT offered him like 60 grand a year.
Yeah.
So he will walk when he knows that it makes sense to walk. So the question is because I don't think New Japan's going to necessarily offer walking money for him.
Not for him. No, I think that I think Shinsuke is more likely in that regard.
They might, yeah. And I think that for a variety of reasons, that would make more sense. But if we're talking about walking away from WWE money when you'd rather stay in WWE like AJ, New Japan's not going to do that, especially not at this point. Now, would AEW do that? They might.
I think they would. I mean, as TC in the comment is saying, he had an agreement with AEW in 2019, didn't he? Essentially, yes. It was kind of like they had an agreement that just wasn't signed for him and the Good Brothers to be revealed as the big surprise on the first Dynamite.
Was that supposed to be AJ too, though?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to be all three of them together, and then instead we got Jack Swagger.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think that can happen if the money's right. However, we have seen that WWE is willing to throw big money around for a handful of people, just a very select few. I think that AJ might be one of those select few that they might be willing to throw money down for.
I think so. My pause on that is, if they are looking at next year and just in general, I think that WWE has understood that one of a decent business idea is the retirement nostalgia run.
It's worked, kind of.
And I think that there's somebody that's out there that they could probably get more out of doing that than AJ.
And that would be
Chris Jericho.
Okay. And
I think within WWE, I think that they could do more with a Chris Jericho retirement run than they could with an AJ Styles one. And I think that it would be better business for WWE of those two.
I agree. And I think that there's several other people in WWE I think that could work for. I think that obviously could work for CM Punk. I think that could obviously work for a Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, though, is unique. And the reason I say he's unique is because he's someone who has bounced all over the place and has been really big about pushing his own brand and showing that he can do it on the strength of his name. That's something you haven't necessarily seen with like Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. Randy Orton is not someone who is going to leave WWE and have a retirement show elsewhere. But I think Chris Jericho is interesting in the sense that he is, not just with AEW and not just with going to New Japan, but he launched his own cruise that was essentially a produce show on a boat. And he continues to do those. I think when you look at Japan and how they had retirement shows that were essentially produce shows or just produce shows in general, I've always found it interesting how that's just a phenomenon that never really caught on in the United States. And it surprises me because I feel like we're in an environment right now where that could work surprisingly well because you have two promotions that aren't exactly, incredibly hot at the moment. And the idea of having something new and fresh and different, like a produce show that's put on by the talent themselves as the promoters, similar to the way All In was, I guess you could say, and tying it around a retirement, that's something that is very well done in Japan. And I think we just never saw it here because WWE would just, snuff anything out that was even remotely close to that because they would just suck all the oxygen out of the room. Yeah. I don't think that's the environment right now. So I think someone like Chris Jericho, if he were to announce tomorrow that he is going to have a retirement show in 6 months and it'll be his last show, he's booking himself, he's putting all the people on that he wants to put on, and tickets go on sale in 2 months, and say it's a 10,000 seat setup. Is he selling 10,000 seats like almost instantly?
No, probably not.
I think he might. All In did, and largely because that was a interesting and unique situation. You could argue it's catching lightning in a bottle, but I think a produce show, retirement show in the United States could pull that off. I really do, especially for the right person. I think that right person could be Chris Jericho.
Well, I would point out that the attendance, reportedly, for Ric Flair's last match, which was July 31st, 2022, at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium, was 6,800. Mm-hmm. And he got representation from every company known to man.
He did.
He had AEW, he had New Japan, he had DDT, he had AAA, he had Progress, WWE sent Jarrett was at the show, and he was on WWE contract at the time. TNA, NWA, everybody was getting in on that show. I think that things were a little more fluid back then, though, also with the ability to get that amount of talent.
Yes.
Whereas I think today, if you were to do a produce show in the US, you're essentially going to be looking at yourself being in one of two territory systems for the talent that you're getting. And when you look at the kind of talent that are announced for the Jericho cruise that's coming up, mm-hmm. he is in the bucket of that is essentially it's TNA.
Yeah. It's interesting because if you pull up, let's pull up. Do you have the access to the roster that's going to be on that cruise right now? Because
I am attempting to find it. Yes. Okay. So the VIPs at sea for of course, the region of the Rager is Chris Jericho, of course. Yes. And the VIPs at sea are I'm gonna send you the link to this so you can follow along. Jeff Hardy, Saraya, and the Great Muta. They're the VIPs at sea. Mm-hmm. Your sovereign sailors are Dave LaGreca, Bully Ray, and Nick Nemeth. Your sorceress of the sea is Elena Black, formerly Cora Jade. Your master of mirth is, of course, Brad Williams. It always is him. But then who kinds of people are your talent that he has booked so far on the cruise? You have some who are retired people like Ted DiBiase and the Shockmaster and Vampiro, Buff Bagwell. You have Carlito and Shotzi Blackheart and AJ Francis, Indy Hartwell, Mojibari. Okay, that's an interesting one, you know. Mm-hmm. Lacey Lane is supposed to be on it. Ricky Knight Jr., which makes sense with Saraya. So there's I would say that you have, 2 or 3 hot indie names that are not associated right now with WWE TNA, right? You have
right. I would say a lot of the TNA names are not people that you're seeing on the NXT Invasion.
Well, yeah, indie is on there, but yeah, it's you have some people that have been released from WWE in like the past year, like Carlito or Shotzi Blackheart or former Cora Jade, Alana Black. Um, I think that Lacey Lane has kind of started to establish herself as I'm not, just gonna fall into back into the WWE orbit. Ricky Knight Jr. is a pretty well known independent wrestler. Mojabari is a pretty like good up and coming wrestler that people are said to look out for. But it's not like he has right now at this point, mind you. It's a year away, so it's a long time still.
All right.
It doesn't seem like right now he has like either a strong roster of independent talent, and he is obviously not have any AEW talent like he used to have.
No, this to me feels very much like he is kind of straddling both buckets. I think he's not in the WWE bucket. He's not in the AEW bucket. He is trying to do it without doing either one. And the TNA talent I notice is specifically, for the most part, talent that have like he doesn't have Joe Hendry on the show.
Well, he might be a WWE talent by
he might be, but he doesn't. Okay, but my point is he's not having people that are directly tied with NXT storylines, or that people are tied with WWE in general. For the most
suppose. Part. I mean, like Jeff Hardy and Indy Hartwell are pretty high on the card. Nick Nemeth is pretty high on the card on TNA.
Yeah,
he's not getting title matches right now, but yeah.
Right. My point, though, is that I think he's done a pretty good stretch. And going back to my point, let's say he decided to use this roster that he has right now for his retirement show.
Yeah.
Okay. Using that roster, and he decided that he's going to have his last match probably be like, him versus Lance Storm. All right. Because he's always said that's like, hey, that's going to be my retirement match, me versus Lance Storm. Let's say he does book that. I would argue that he could surpass the Ric Flair number, because I really think the Ric Flair show it was done in a way where it almost felt like a joke. And maybe that's because he already had a retirement and it didn't really feel like a retirement, because he had it was like a second fake retirement. And it was a lot of people were watching just to see, is this guy going to die? It didn't necessarily have the gravitas that you would expect from a retirement show. And I think that they could do it better with Jericho, to the point that it would have it wouldn't just have like a freak show draw to it.
Although the kinds of matches that were on that Ric Flair show included both TNA world titles defended. Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu, Jordan Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo and Rachel Ellering. You had the Briscoes versus the Von Erichs. You had what else was on that show? Takesha was on that show.
Yeah.
Motor City Machine Guns were on that show. Ray Phoenix, Bandito were on that show.
I'm not denying that the show didn't have good talent. Yeah. But I'm saying from a draw standpoint, I don't know how much
was people wanting to see if Rick would die.
Yes, the down card ballot, like there's not many people that were like, well, I guess I could see Ric Flair his last match, but I really want to see this Takeshita match, which I would, but let's be honest, most of the people who bought tickets to that were going to see Ric Flair. And I think
also that Takeshita match was 5 minutes.
Yes. So that's where I'm at right now. I think that we're in a situation where I think it could be. I don't think that's the best comparison. But even if you did want to do that comparison, 6,000's not bad. I think Jericho could hit 10,000 if he did it right. Because I think the promotion behind the Ric Flair one it was very scummy. Well, and it also is tied with the mortgage guy. So that's tied. That doesn't help either.
Jericho's it would be with Busted Open, it sounds like. Revolution did 16K with Sting. I think that Sting is on a different strata and also it was being promoted essentially as a TV thing as well on top of it.
Yeah.
Like it was being promoted on TV. It was a long-term storyline. This is saying like if Jericho just out of nowhere, just like, I'm not doing TV for 6 months and I'm going to do a show, I still think though that his probably his best option is to go to WWE and do it.
Yeah. Well, I think WWE has realized that these retirement runs work. Like, because I think Sting obviously set this template.
Yeah.
And everyone saw how well that worked. And now they're doing it with John Cena. And I'm sure they're going to it's going to be like the Hall of Fame, where every year they're like, okay, who's the next one? Who's the next retirement run? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to do, especially right now where they're in a situation where the industry itself doesn't have a whole lot of huge draws that are, in their prime, but they do have a lot of huge draws still that could put on one final match and get carried through. Like if Steve Austin was going to do that, his final match.
Yeah.
That would be a huge draw. And once again, he's someone who doesn't necessarily need WWE to do it. And financially, it might make sense for him to maybe try to do it on his own, or even because that's the other thing. These people, if Austin wanted to run his own produce show, he could probably go directly to a network. And
no, he could just talk to NBC and be like, "Hey, you want to throw this on TV? Give me a hell yeah."
Yeah, exactly. They don't need WWE for that. And I would like to see more of that. Just talent cutting out the middleman and just, taking it on themselves, seizing the means of production, if you will.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound like Jericho at all.
It does not, or Austin for that matter.
On that note, how about we mention somebody that seems like they're going to be having their return in quite some time still is Andrade.
Yeah.
Who we had taken off our tracker very quickly because he went back to AEW, but it seems that WWE threw a little bit of a wrench in the tires there for Andrade, saying, "Oh no, you were fired with cause. That means that this clause has been activated that says that you can't do anything in the United States for another promotion for next year.
You must live in poverty for a year."
Many people have mentioned that this would probably not hold up in court.
Yeah.
Because the issue is that they would have to, WWE both would have to prove that their cause was they had cause for the dismissal. But then also they would have to prove that it's a remedy that's worthwhile for them, and then it would cause them harm for Andrade to appear. Those are the two hurdles usually with these kinds of non-compete things. So TC's asking, do WWE wrestlers just not know what's in their contracts? So this clause was something that has been in contracts before TKO took over, but it has been stated that it's become boilerplate at this point, which means that it's just the stock contract that they send out to everybody that they start negotiations with. This is in every single one of those contracts. Do WWE talent not know? Some talent did not know, from what's been reported by people like Sean Ross Sapp. They were surprised that this was in there. Why would they not know? I would say that there's two reasons for that. One could be you don't perceive this as something that would have to affect you, right?
No one thinks they're going to get fired.
Nobody thinks they're going to get fired with cause.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main point of this, is with cause, right? The other factor of it could be, there is a lot of vertical integration of WWE talent being represented by Endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
So they might not have the interest of their client at heart, which is also illegal, but who's enforcing that law anymore? So
yeah. And on top of that, if you are someone who is trying to get into the wrestling business and you get a decent paying contract from WWE and you see something in there, let's say you saw that, how many talent are generally going to push that back across the table and say, take that out. They don't have the leverage to pull that off.
No.
That's not going to happen. We got to be realistic. I mean, that's just in this environment, once again, that's why unionization is probably good. So they can kind of stop all this stuff, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Now, the other thing with this that just kind of came out today, I believe, was Andrade isn't the only one who has apparently a year-long non-compete.
Yeah, so that's a different situation, though.
Potentially, because she may have negotiated that out to get out.
Yes, so we're speaking about Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer, formerly of WWE. This is a similar situation that happened with Renee Paquette, which is when an employee, because they don't categorize ring announcers and interviewers as independent contractors, they categorize them as employees for WWE. When an employee negotiates to have their contract ended early, they then have to negotiate the terms for the contract to end early. And so that is why it seems that there was a agreement of 2 years for Samantha to sit out.
Mm-hmm.
It is an agreement. It is not a clause of her contract that was activated, as far as I'm aware, because that's the same situation that had happened with Renee Paquette.
Oh, that's true. All right, so that's where we're at with those. So Andrade, at this point, we don't know what's going on with him. So there was talk that there was something else going on, a rumor, like BJ Bethel came out and was saying like there's more than just this. There's something else with Andrade, but I don't think that anything ever came out of that, or we heard anything from that. So maybe it's Bethel just talking. And then Sean Ross Sapp made the, tried to make a bad joke on Grapsody and said like, oh, Andrade's out of AEW now is a joke. And then everyone obviously just read the headline and took it for what it was at face value and thought he got fired again. He did not get fired. That was just not a funny joke by Sean Ross Sapp. And now we're at this place again where we just don't know what's going on with Andrade.
Yeah.
And, listen, I have always been on, I from the beginning of this, I said I didn't think he was necessarily worth all this, worth the trouble. Hopefully it gets all straightened out. But, this seems to be par for the course with Andrade.
So going back to WWE then, this week also, or this past 2 weeks now, we've been having a little bit of a saga regarding their kind of their usage of AI. And I just wanted to ask, so the context on this was that Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that WWE has hired somebody whose job essentially is the integration of AI into their writing process. A terrible example that happened with, I'll get to that, TC, one moment. A hilarious example that happened with this was that they went to AI and asked them for storylines, and they suggested essentially, they suggested Bobby Lashley, and essentially the storyline was that he was a weeb. He was a Japanese cultural weeb. And of course, Bobby Lashley doesn't work for WWE anymore. But that was the genius of AI. There was a second report that came out from Sean Ross Sapp that was very obviously WWE trying to do damage control in this, claiming, "Oh yeah, no, we don't use it like that. No, we have an idea for a story, and then it helps us flesh it out." Which is, I mean, that's you're using a prompt. That's what you do with an ML, like large language model, is you just ask it, "Hey, this is the bounds that I want. What do you think?" Like they just described putting a prompt into an AI in chat GPT. That's all they did.
Yeah.
And so but people are like, "Oh yeah, no, this closes the case. Dave Meltzer is an idiot." So the angle that I want to ask you on this is, do you think that wrestlers should be concerned whatsoever about the usage of AI in booking? or the expansion of AI possibly to be used for other things by WWE?
Yeah, I think they should. I mean, this is like a larger discussion for sure, but I mean, there's a lot of very serious issues with AI, obviously, and I think one that was brought up tied to this, kind of tied to the Bobby Lashley thing, is that there's been issues with AI just being like inherently racist
Yeah.
and just getting in, especially when you take a look at how look at the Bobby Lashley one. That seems a little off, to say the least, and that might continue going. That may continue to be a problem. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm an expert on AI, but yeah, this is like we're creating this homogenized system when everything is just like getting cycled through the same checks and balances of AI, and ultimately all this is going to lead to is just the greater homogenization of wrestling in general, because nothing is going to get, it's cheaper, it's easier, and it's not as good, but they don't care.
Well, yeah, it's that is using a database of information of things that have already happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't think of something, because that's just the way that these models work, these algorithms work. It can't think about something. It doesn't think, number one. It doesn't think. But number two, even if we say that as the term think, it can't think of something new. It can only adapt things that have already happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, or things that other people have thought about. Which also gets into an IP kind of issue if they utilize things that are somebody else has a copyright on, and they just think that, oh yeah, no, the AI came up with it, and then you're like, oh no, that's actually something that somebody else already did, and now they're going to sue us. One of the things that they used it for, of course, was graphics that said the last time that two wrestlers faced each other. They asked AI that rather than just like their own database or cage match, or using like it takes longer for you to do an AI prompt of typing in, hey, when was the last time that AJ Styles and Finn Balor faced each other? And then have to fact check that after you've already asked the AI, than it is just to like Google that or go to cage match and find that out. Like it's so much simpler to just do the work yourself than to use the AI to do it for you for some of these things.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily, and when they use AI for that I don't necessarily have as much of an issue with, where that's just like doing research for you. I guess that's not as bad as trying to make creative decisions like a human.
Yeah. So how about we talk about some creative decisions that humans are making right now?
Sure.
In AEW.
Okay.
And we're going to relate it to WrestleWatch. And that is the women's tag tournament is coming up in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any predictions yet of who you think will be winning that tournament, perhaps even?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think it makes sense at this point to belt up Toni Storm again.
No.
And it could be her and Mina, perhaps. I don't know if the brackets
likely.
are out. Yeah.
That the brackets come out tomorrow night, and that seems like something that you might have stumbled into a spoiler for the part of WrestleDream you didn't watch yet.
Oh yes. So that's fine. And but that makes the most sense to me. I mean, here's the thing. When I think about when WWE introduced those women's tag titles that they have for the very first time, there was a lot of pushback. And obviously we had the whole story of Mercedes being very upset, and they gave it to the Iconics, if you remember. And there was a lot of people that said, well, the Iconics are an actual tag team. It makes sense to give it to them as opposed to give it to, put it on, your bigger stars. And at the time I disagreed with that. I felt that no, I don't necessarily buy that. I think you want to make these titles feel important, and putting them on essentially a lower card prelim act, which is what the Iconics were at that point, is not a good way to start. So it would be this. To me, it's like saying, well, the Renegade Twins are an actual tag team, so they should put the belts on them, make them the first tag team champs. I would say that's a silly idea. I think you should put it on someone who's going to draw and who actually is going to make those belts feel important. To me, that's Toni Storm. She's your arguably your biggest star in the entire company. And
I would, yeah. I would also point out that Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa have an established relationship with each other on screen, like as a team.
Yep.
Like people, it's not like, oh yeah, these two people that have never been seen before together are going to become tag champs. I don't think that that's the case with it, and I think that that's the case where this kind of comes into like a Wrestle Watch kind of perspective. Is I think some people, when they were booking out what this tournament could be, were considering, oh yeah, you could get all these teams from all around the world, all these independent teams could come in. You could get the Iconics, who seem like their contract is up with TNA. You could get all these different people. I think that AEW will not have any guest wrestlers for this tournament.
See, I feel like they could have CMLL in.
Maybe. Sure.
I think that I could see that. I don't know that I see Stardom, but I could see CMLL just because that seems like an easy thing to do. And I think that CMLL would like to be involved.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Stardom necessarily cares one way or the other.
Well, yeah, if you just start, like, let's just presume it's like an 8-team tournament, you got Ty J, you got Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, you have Tony and Mina,
Sisters
Sky Blue
of Sin,
and Julia Hart. Yeah. You could. They've already had Willow and Harley Cameron kind of teaming up together recently.
Yeah.
You have Athena and Billy Starks have always been a thing.
There's others that could work, like Nyla Rose and Thunder Rosa, or sometimes they just started a podcast together.
Yes, they did. You have right now on ROH, they've been having Alex Windsor and Yuka Sakazaki teaming together.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That's a fun one. Yeah.
So they definitely could do a lot.
They could do at least 6 teams just with their roster easily without anybody. And then the Renegades, one of them is injured. I think Charlotte is still injured, but it's possible that they might be coming back, and that's a tag team that people are aware of. And then also, who's another one that I just thought about?
Lacey Lane and Casey Catanzaro, whatever her name was.
Yeah. And then there's also the fact that we haven't even mentioned Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter, who are one of the sides of the Blood and Guts match.
Yeah, and
they're not an established tag team, but they've aligned themselves together.
They hinted at it at the pay-per-view. So
yeah, they've hinted at the paper. They're kind of, I guess, the AEW Women's United Empire,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that they have enough teams that I don't think that they need to bring in anybody.
Yeah, and I think we always do this thing every single time AEW announces some big tournament, and we assume it's going to be like 16 participants or like 32 participants and like double elimination. It ends up being like 8. Yeah, it's like 8, and that's it.
Yeah. We were like, last year or something, like with the CC, it's like, oh yeah, who's gonna who's the New Japan representative gonna be? And it's like nobody. Yeah. There is none.
Yeah, I think we were really spoiled in the pandemic when they had that like women's tournament where it was like half the bracket was like Japan and half the bracket was United States, and it just had some really cool and unique names, and they did it like. Obviously, they had to do it weird because it was in the middle of COVID, but that was fun. And I feel like that's something I wish we can go back to, where you never know what you're going to get. And it's been a long time since I felt like you never know what you're going to get in terms of like talent just popping up out of nowhere in AEW.
Yeah.
And, we're a long ways away from Nick Gage popping up on Dynamite. So
maybe he'll pop up on that Jericho produced show.
Yeah.
So with that, how about we take a look at the current newly updated, new and improved. Oh, wait, we didn't talk about Man Like Dereiss.
Okay, we can talk about him.
Yeah, so Man Like Dereiss, he is an interesting case that I wanted to bring up this week, along with like those other prospects that they all got signed. Necessarily, we believe we can confirm that Mike D Vecchio is signed with WWE. Where we believe that Zozaya has been signed, but we haven't gotten confirmation yet. There have just been reports that allegedly he's gone to Orlando. Another name that was interesting that was mentioned back in early part of this year. Well, there were two names. We had Rio, the British wrestler, and Man Like Dereiss was mentioned. Both of them did the tryouts with WWE when they did the tryouts in London back in the early part of this year. Neither of them got signed as far as we were aware. But they did seem to both have interest with WWE and that there was interest back from WWE in them. This past week, Man Like Dereiss came to the United States to do shows with House of Glory and GCW up in New York, but for some reason, he flew to Orlando first and rented a car to drive somewhere near Orlando. Now, we don't know where he went, but we can presume why he went to Orlando.
Yeah, that's a good guess. And it's also to point out that, he did lose to Effie. He did lose. He lost to a couple people.
He lost those matches that he did in GCW and House of Glory, yes.
Yeah. Did some losing.
As the Progress World Champion or Men's Champion, whatever they call it nowadays. I guess it's a world title. It's their top title.
Yeah, interesting what's going on there.
I don't know necessarily. I think that there is an explanation for him going to Florida that's not him talking to WWE. That explanation is people that he knows now are at the Performance Center, and maybe he was just use that as an opportunity of like, oh, well, I'm flying to the States anyway, maybe I'll just, add on a 2-hour flight from Florida to New York, and just see some friends the day before.
Maybe he wanted to go to Universal.
He wanted
to do the Harry Potter experience where you wave the wands and makes things happen.
I think he's more of that guy that wants to do the Super Mario Brothers.
Is Mario Land?
He is a Mario Land guy, I think.
Yeah. Or is he going to Cars World in Disney?
Oh, Cars World, I think that's a strong possibility. But I also think that's only at the Disneyland California Adventure.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. I'll be honest,
Radiator Springs.
I've only been to Disneyland and California Adventure once, and that was probably 12 years ago.
Well, I can confirm now, you are neither in a punk rock or metal band, and you are not a wrestler.
This is true.
Because those are the two demographics of people that I know love Disney parks more than anybody else.
Why not? That's fine. You could be the Disney adults.
I think that there's a difference also between being a quote unquote Disney adult and somebody that is an adult that likes going to the Disney parks. Because a Disney adult to me is someone who in their daily life incorporates princess culture is the best way I would put it.
Or they're doing the Disney bounding where that's where they'll like wear outfits that are color aligned to like a certain Disney princess.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, they're not like cosplaying, but it's like, they're just like, if they're like, they have an Ariel outfit where the colors match, like the top is going to be purple for the bra. And then the like green pants, they'll kind of match with the fins. So it's like, they're like low key, like cosplaying Disney characters.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think Man Like Dereiss is that.
He's not Disney bounding?
I don't think he is. I just think that he might have friends.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of wrestlers like doing like Marvel bounding and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, but that's cool still, isn't it?
It is technically Disney bounding in a way.
It is. I mean, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite Disney princess is, of course, Shuri.
Yes.
Not the wrestler. No. The sister of Black Panther. No. So how about we look at our WrestleWatch tier list, or our free agency tracker as it stands today. Up in certain, we have Joe Hendry. Adam Priest now moves up from likely to certain, and so does Zozaya moving up from likely to certain. How do you feel about those two changes?
I think that they make sense. I mean, we talk about, is there fire or is it just smoke? It's like there's a lot of smoke. And I think that we're seeing them. The jump is happening.
Yeah. With likely we have Ninja Mac, Michael Oku, and hi guys, Chris Jericho now likely.
I'm telling you, produce show retirement.
Probable is now just Danhausen.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I feel like is the window for Danhausen closing?
Like, I don't think so. I think that the window is forever for Danhausen, because he just has to. He has a gimmick that allows him to not even have to wrestle. I
suppose. But it's also feels like, he's like the 6'7" joke. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not a teacher nor a child, so no.
So I'm not going to necessarily try to even. I refuse to actually learn the origin, but it's just like
there is no origin is the thing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
They just wanted a funny number.
Yeah, well, it's hilarious, sure. But eventually it runs its course, and it's not funny anymore. And I feel like Danhausen might already be that. I don't know. I feel like he's Sven Gulli now. It's like, is Sven Gulli relevant?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Sven Gulli is?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
Sven Gulli is, I guess it's more of a Chicago-based thing too.
Oh,
this thing, sometimes it's like it's funny because sometimes I assume that everyone knows, like, you know who Bozo the Clown is, right? That's Chicago-based.
Well, yeah, but it's Bozo the Clown.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like, it's Sven Gulli. Does anyone listening in the chat know who Sven Gulli is? Hit me up. Let's find out. But ignore that. We're freaking that. Either way, I think he's done. I think
you think he's past? Like, you think that he's not just Malort? Is that a Chicago reference that works?
Sure. Malort is still relevant though.
In toss-up, we have the British wrestler Rio. We have Dr. Britt Baker, D. We have Private Partey. We have Sari, and we have Dakota Kai. I think Private Party is somebody that So there were some rumors about maybe there's going to be some people added to Hurt Syndicate. And obviously that's not happening anytime soon, it seems.
I mean, hey, if I want me to join a faction that never has to lose, sure.
And possible we have Priscilla Kelly, Shayna Baszler, Isla Dawn, and men like Dereiss is possible on the jump. I think that's a decent place to put him for now, and we'll see how it goes going up here. I think there's some interesting things going on with Progress right now.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting things.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Unlikely right now is Gabe Kidd, who, as Dave Meltzer pointed out when was asked by Alvarez, where is Gabe Kidd? In reference to, he was dragged in a body bag behind a truck. He was like, oh, we haven't seen Gabe Kidd. Where's Gabe Kidd? Dave Meltzer said, he's in Japan. He just said it matter-of-factly.
Yeah. Can I just point this out? I feel bad for Gabe Kidd in the sense, or just anyone now that appears in AEW that is part of the New Japan roster, because everyone just now assumes that it's only a matter of time before they're gone.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because it's like Gabe Kidd may earnestly not have any plans to go to AEW. He might genuinely be like, no, I'm happy in New Japan for a while, but everyone is already assuming that it's just a matter of time before he jumps. And I get it. Maybe it is. I mean, it's money, sure. But you feel bad because they probably killed. It feels like it killed a lot of his momentum in Japan because now everyone's just like, well, how long is he actually going to be there?
Although I would point out, of course, that Gabe also had on his. I don't know. Did you watch the King of Pro Wrestling show?
Yeah, that was a good match.
Did you notice what was on his knee pad?
No, what was it?
On one knee pad was the lion mark. On the that was on the left knee pad. On the right knee pad was the War Dogs logo, over top of which was the eagle of the Death Riders logo. I mean the owl of the Death Riders logo. He had both. He had both of his factions on him.
I'll be honest. I didn't realize the Death Riders logo was an owl.
Yeah, it's an owl. Yeah.
Okay.
You've never seen it?
I probably have and just didn't think about it.
Well, when you finally get to watching Mox versus Darby, think about it.
Okay.
Think about owls.
I bought it on Sling. I don't know that
not what they seem.
I bought the show on Sling. I hope I could still play it.
You should get. I think it's like a 60-day or something.
Hopefully,
you should probably watch. How many matches do you have left?
Where did I leave off? I finished. I think I was up to Tony Storm and Statlander.
But okay, so you have 3 matches left.
Yeah.
No, 4, 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah. So you know what? I will, when we wrap this up, I'm going to go do that right now.
And then down in remote, we have Karrion Kross, Leon Slater, Saraya, The Miz, Maki Ito, Dragon Lee, Tetsuya Naito, AJ Styles, Lacey Lane, and our resident surfer Shinsuke Nakamura is down in remote right now.
Actually, you know what I was watching before we started recording? What? Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's that's probably.
Is that the second one?
That is the third one.
Is that the one where they go to Earth?
Yes, and in present day in the 70s.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Do you want to react to a hot take?
Sure.
We Want Tables is more disrespectful chant than what?
I hate them both. I really do. I think the what is, you know what? I agree, because I think the what is not so much disrespectful as it just makes me think that the person in the crowd is just an absolute idiot. And whereas the We Want Tables one that's super that's like you're telling them how to do their job.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, I would agree. That's more disrespectful.
Okay. Current Bandito is the best booked luchador in major American promotions since Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero in 1997.
Well, who would the alternatives be?
Eddie Guerrero in 2004.
I know, but I'm saying besides that, yeah.
Like, I would say Eddie Guerrero from 2002 to 2004 was better booked than Eddie Guerrero in 97.
Yeah.
He was a top guy. You know, he was a world champion. He wasn't that's just relegated to the mid card.
That's probably accurate. I'm not necessarily even saying that that he's well, here's the thing. Would I count Mystico in AEW?
Do you think that he is booked better, like, than Bandito is?
I think he's booked incredibly strong in AEW.
I mean, like, that's not his home promotion, though.
Right.
Either. So it's hard to say that that's, like, being booked. That is him being a guest.
That's true, but he's still being booked. I think. Okay, but I understand
I think that's outside the spirit.
Yeah, I understand this in the spirit of the question. Yes, probably. And I don't even necessarily think Bandito's booked that strong, but I guess that speaks more to just how badly luchadors have been booked the last 20 years.
It's not necessarily like the best, like the most strongly booked, but I think the best booked. Yeah. And I think Eddie Guerrero in the SmackDown 6 era is the answer of the best booked luchador.
Okay.
Because I think that he was a main guy. He was a top guy, and then I think that's The other one is AEW should never do a 4+ hour pay-per-view at 8 p.m. Eastern start time again.
I think they should never do pay-per-views in the evening ever again, period.
Yeah.
I think they stumbled on the fact that the afternoon is the ideal time slot for their pay-per-views. And they need to go back to that. They found out, they got forced into finding out. It's like a bully came by and shoved them into the mud, and then they found like gold nuggets in the mud.
Yeah, they got forced around and found out. FAFO. Yeah. That's what that means, kids.
Yep.
If you're a child out there, that's what that means. Also, late breaking news here. Mustafa Ali is yet another person in TNA whose contract is expiring at the end of this year.
Oh man, God, I don't even know what to think about with him. Because he's not going back to WWE, is he?
I don't think he should.
I don't think he would.
And I don't think that he has a place in AEW, honestly.
No. He didn't exactly have a great exit from WWE.
No, he didn't like the way that they were booking him in WWE. Yeah. He didn't want to go back.
Yeah. And then AEW didn't. He tried to do a New Japan thing.
But it was mostly just a strong thing. He didn't even go to Japan.
Didn't he? Wasn't he on the Best of the Super Juniors?
Let me.
Am I Mandela affecting that?
Let's go to Cage Match and then just pop over to New Japan Wrestling. Submit. How many matches has he ever had in New Japan? How many matches do you think he's ever had in New Japan?
Well, I thought he was in the Best of the Super Juniors, so I'll say 10.
He's had 4 matches, and they were in Chicago, Ontario, California, Washington, D.C., and Lowell, Massachusetts.
The Chicago one wasn't very good either. Why did I don't know. I guess for some reason I thought he did a Best of the Super Juniors.
Nope. He never went to Japan.
Mandela affected it.
I don't know if he's ever worked a match in Japan.
Ever?
No, he's never worked a match in Japan. No.
Interesting.
Not even WWE went to Japan when he was there. No.
Very interesting.
So, I mean, I think that that's a possible place for him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that he could work in New Japan.
I mean, the guy,
if he doesn't stay with TNA, which I think he could still stay with TNA.
I feel bad because he tried to do something with that weird president gimmick, but I also feel like he was throttling a line between it being kind of a cool thing and being kind of sad, because at one point he was like hanging outside the arena while people were in line and just like doing his gimmick,
self promo.
Just like, he's just walking up and down the line saying, "I'm Mustafa Ali, support me," kind of. It was like as he was like a presidential candidate, and it was. I get what he was going for, and it did not work. It just felt really desperate.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week, I believe. Right.
On that note, sorry, Mustafa Ali, former Bolingbrook police officer.
They could use him right now.
Yeah.
This is it for this week's episode of Wrestle Watch then. Thank you all for listening in. Please subscribe to us on whichever platform you're listening to, and give us a like or a comment, because that helps for the push of our product. I think we'll be back again. Well, we'll be back on the weekend proper, I believe, this next time. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
And if we're not, maybe come Tuesday.
Yes. This was fun. I was a little more awake.
Yeah. With that, I have been Ryan.
And I'm Doug. Have a great day, everyone.
Stay spicy.
Stay spicy.